have in your mind will be answered right after this speech. I will give you some information about the markets of halal food. So first we need to see the signs around us. There are nowadays many exhibitions that either there are halal exhibitions, and there are all over the world, even in West Europe. One of them is next month in Eindhoven, Holland. But also the very big exhibitions of the world, they give some emphasis lately on halal and kosher sometimes as well. One example is to buy food. It's a really big exhibition, and they have a specific section of halal food. So in Halal Food this year, a few weeks ago, so I have to change that. So we had 5,000 exhibitors in that exhibition, and they were from 120 different countries, trying to show their products in this very dynamic developing market. Out of these 5,000 exhibitors, 800 of them, which is basically all the exhibitors, roughly a little bit less than the exhibitors in this exhibition, were actually halal, had halal food in the portfolio. And even from the 46 Greek companies taking part in a very big number of participants, about 1/4 were actually halal certified. And Halal Food had a special forum about halal food. That was, I think, for second year. They had a special forum on halal food. But you would say that this is an exhibition, that it is mainly in that region that people would ask for halal food. Yeah, but then what would you think about Hanukkah? Hanukkah is maybe the biggest exhibition in food in the world today, certainly in Europe. And they have been identifying the need for the trend for halal and kosher food. And from the 10 trends they had showing in the exhibition, vegan products, etc., etc. 4th was halal food, and 10th was kosher food. And they have issued a special books putting all the exhibitors with halal food in one and all the exhibitors with kosher food in the other. About 25% of the 6,000 exhibitors in that exhibition, they declared that their food is halal. Not necessarily certified, but they did say that their food is halal. And I'm saying not necessarily certified because I know Greek companies that declared the food was halal and they're not certified. But in any case, that shows us that the companies in the world, they are identifying a trend and trying to catch it. Sometimes in the correct way, sometimes in not correct way, but at least it is an identifiable trend. Let's see a little bit more on the Muslim communities of the world. The biggest the circle, the biggest the community of Muslims in that country. There are some countries in the world where Muslims are like 95 or 99% of the population. There are many other countries that Muslims are a part of the population, and in some cases there might even be a small minority of like 15%, but that would, for example, in India, be something like 175 million people. So India is one of the biggest Muslim populations in the world, although the country is not Muslim. And you see around us, around Greece, I mean, and Europe, there are many countries that have big Muslim communities. Many of them are also the majority of the population, but you can also see I sent you a wrong. I had a cut down version for this presentation. I sent the wrong one to the organizers. But anyways, this is the slide. So you see the bigger the circle, the bigger the population, and there are countries in Europe that they have already a big Muslim population. And bear in mind that especially in the countries where the Muslims are minorities, the halal awareness, so the people knowing about halal and insisting in finding halal, is increasing rapidly. And these markets where the Muslims are minorities will be as important to us as the countries, as the Muslim countries. So you can see here that we have a set of countries with green that they are already, you would say, they are importing and consuming halal food. And I will explain to you exactly what halal food actually means a few slides down. But the red countries, Muslims are minorities, yet the consumption of halal food is increasing rapidly. Europe, for example, Germany, for example, is now insisting in having certified products when you are selling the products to the Muslim distribution channels. 1 year ago, they were just checking your ingredients and see there's nothing that would be problematic for Muslims. But now, many times are asking for a certification. And you see here Muslim communities, populations, as they are now, and as they are being predicted to be in 30 years' time. You know, of course, that these populations, they grow rapidly, and if you see the countries over there, you see the importance of some of these markets. This is the whole Islamic economy. What do we say Islamic? What we call Islamic economy? Islamic economy is basically all the economy being produced by Muslims. So all consumption, everything that has to do with Muslims. Does not mean that this is all certified. But still, this economy is really big. It's like $3 trillion. It was like $3 trillion 3 years ago. Now this Islamic economy is part of that is halal food. It's basically 1/3 roughly out of that. So the 1.something trillion is food, and the rest it's other sectors that we will not discuss so much today. Although we have similar graphs that you will see for food for every sector. So halal food. It's 1 point. You saw in the previous slide in 2012 it was 1 trillion. 1 year later, in 2013, it was already $300 million more than the previous year. And it's estimated to be $2.5 trillion within the next few years, accounting roughly 20% of the global expenditure on food. You understand that this is really, really huge. However, we have to say what is halal food, because there are some misunderstandings in that sense. The halal certified food, you can only assume how much it is. Studies about that is showing that the half of the total is halal certified. What do we say halal certified? It's a food, a product where it has gone the procedure that Mr. Tufail was so kind to explain to us, and they have received a certification by either a global recognized certification body like Halal Certification Services and some other big European or international halal certification bodies, or a local certification body in that country. So this is the halal certified part of the halal food. But there is another part. There is we call it the halal compliant part. Now the halal compliant part are either very natural products, like vegetables, like frozen vegetables that are being cut. They are recognized as halal compliant, or there are products produced in Muslim countries. So products produced in Muslim countries are, you can understand why, assumed to be already halal without a certification. So if you have a factory, let's say in Egypt, producing products there, and you want to export to a Muslim country, that product, the Muslim country, if they don't have a specific legal requirement, they would accept it as a halal product. But if you're producing exactly the same product in a Christian country, like Greece, the same buyer would, it's very possible that he would ask for a certification on that. So halal compliancy depends on the country that you want to export, if there is a legal requirement there, depends on the type of the product, it depends on where you're producing it, and also it has to do, and this is basically the most important part, on the policy of the distribution channel. Do they want to only have certified products, or it's not a requirement for them? Okay, and these are the biggest the countries. We saw the Muslim populations earlier, but we know that different country has a different type of economy. So this is basically the consumption of food in every country. So you got Indonesia being first, 190 billion dollars, and then Turkey, Pakistan, and all the other countries. Iran, although not a very big country, it is big but not that big, is already topping the list, and it's growing. It's growing too much these years, and we expect a further big growth in the next years. In a regional term, you will see that the global Muslim market is far bigger than any national country, any national market in the world. So Muslim market is $1.2 trillion, while the next one is China, with 500 billion less than the Muslim market. In the OIC countries, that stands for Economic Islamic Cooperation countries, half of the imports are vegetable products, 38% are manufactured products, and 17% is animal products. Now, in animal products, all these countries would need a halal certificate to import the products. The animal products are the first part that they have adopted, all of them, the need that the product has to be halal certified. Not so much in manufacturing products, and some of them are not, of course, in vegetable products. So we would expect that Turkey is a really big player in that market. Latest figures for last year show that Turkey's exports of halal certified products are $20 billion. It's a very big number. On a regional basis, we see first MENA area. That means stands for Middle East, North Africa, and we will focus on this one a little bit later. It's a very important market for us that we are in this corner of the world. However, also in East Europe, for example, Russia has like 25 million people. The market there is quite big already and increasing, and there is also halal exhibition in Russia. And West Germany has also a big number of Muslims, again something like 20-something million, and a big economy on that. We will not stay here, but this is because, as I said, animal products are always certified. This is the only sector that we really know the flows of certified products from one country to the other. And Brazil, which is not a Muslim country, which has a very, very, very small percentage of Muslims living there, has the biggest export of halal certified meat in all over the world. They are the biggest player in the world in meat, and they are the biggest player in the world in halal meat. And some other non-Muslim countries, for example New Zealand, you have to search to find a Muslim over there. Still, they are number 7 in this list. And there are many other countries, of course, Turkey is a part of that. Of course, Greece is not on the map, as you would assume. Okay, we have here the problem with, I have here a problem. I sent the wrong presentation yesterday, I'm afraid, 1 week ago, so I will give you some indication that halal food is like $20, as I said, of the world food business. Let's focus a little bit on the MENA countries, and this is the last. I will give them the right presentation, and we will put that on the internet, and you will see it from there. So the MENA countries, to give you an example, I have selected 6 countries out of the MENA countries to talk to you about. One of them, which I think is very important now for halal products, is Algeria. Algeria is a country of 40 million people. It has been stable for the last decade in an area that has not been stable in the last 10 years. has a good per capita income, bigger than Egypt, bigger than other countries of the area. It has been neglected by Greece and Greek producers, though it is finding its place within the European trade. So Algeria is very important. You've already heard they have a law that will have obligatory by legally actually, in order to import products there you have to be certified. And that is very important. Egypt, on the other side, is a poorer country, poorer than Algeria, but with 90 million people, and will be 100 million people within the next 2 years, we believe. So although it is a country with some problems now, it is a very important country for Greek producers and halal producers because it is very, very big. Iran is a special case. We have to move towards Iran. It's very important because now the market has not been divided yet. All Europeans, after the sanctions, they are trying to find their place in the market, and we have to do the same thing. I'm personally traveling there in the next 2 months. Saudi Arabia, okay, it is an important country. It is the only country of that part of the world that Greece has a percentage in that market. It is 1%, but it's the only one on the map. UAE, it is a hub for products, and as I told you, 46 Greek companies were there in the last exhibition. Jordania is another important and interesting case, also a stable country in an unstable environment, and also a hub for products, and many Greek companies are already working with Jordania. So this part of the world accounts for 450 million people, rapidly expanding. In average, 90% of them are Muslims. They have an average income of $3.5 thousand, which is not much, but you have to think that some of the countries have like $120,000, and the poorest have 1 point something. There's a big change around them. And they account for 25% of the total halal food of the world. So these countries that I told you, and all many countries, are very important for us. I would like to give you the stand now, and we'll be happy to answer to all your questions regarding either the certification or the figures. And I would also like to tell you that everyone that is here should also get a brochure on your way out, get some quick information, but also to have our contact details so that you can come back to us for any other questions. Thank you very much for